Far away on the edge of a cold galaxy, there lived a very small alien. His name was Ziri. Ziri was not like the others of his kind. While the other aliens were tall, strong, and proud, Ziri was tiny, weak, and shy. His arms were thin, his voice was soft, and his steps were slow. Whenever Ziri tried to join the others, they laughed at him. "Look at him," they said. "He cannot even lift a stone. He is useless." Ziri's heart grew heavy each time he heard their cruel words. He wanted friends. He wanted to belong. But no one wanted him. Every day Ziri sat on a rock at the edge of his village and watched the stars. He would dream that somewhere far away, maybe there was a place where he was not rejected. Ziri's planet was dark and covered with thick blue mist. Huge trees with glowing roots stretched across the land. Strange birds made sharp cries in the night. It was a beautiful world, but Ziri felt no joy in it. Because in every corner he saw faces that turned away from him. One evening, when the sky was darker than usual, Ziri walked alone through the forest. The other aliens were singing songs around the fire, but Ziri was not welcome there. His eyes looked down. His hands touched the soft ground. He thought, "Why was I born like this? Why am I not like them?" The wind was strong, making the glowing leaves shake. Suddenly the ground trembled. A strange sound came from the sky, louder than thunder, deeper than any roar Ziri had ever heard. He looked up. The thick clouds were tearing apart. A burning light cut across the heavens like a sword. Ziri's small eyes grew wide. The light was not a star. It was moving, falling, and crashing toward the forest. With a giant flash, the light struck the ground far away. The whole planet seemed to shiver. The other aliens screamed in fear. They ran to hide in caves and behind rocks. "The sky is angry," they shouted. "Stay away from the cursed fire." But Ziri did not run. His heart was beating fast, yes, but not from fear. Something inside him whispered, "Go and see." This is not anger. This is something new. He began to walk toward the crash. The ground was hot under his feet and smoke rose between the trees. His tiny body shook, but his eyes burned with curiosity. No one followed him. No one cared what would happen to him. Ziri reached a clearing. The smoke made his chest heavy, but he pushed forward. And then through the dark mist he saw it. A great machine of silver lay broken on the ground. Its wings were sharp and long like the bones of a giant beast. Strange lights blinked on its side. It did not belong to his world. Ziri knew at once this was from the stars. His people always spoke of sky demons and star beasts, but Ziri did not believe them. He felt no demon here. He felt something different, something alive. Slowly he walked closer. The silver machine hissed, sparks dancing from its body. A door slid open with a deep groan, and from inside a tall figure stepped out. The figure was nothing like Ziri's kind. It wore a suit of metal with a shining glass over its face. It looked strong and strange, but not cruel. Ziri froze. His tiny legs wanted to run, but his heart refused. The human, Captain Alex, looked around the clearing. His eyes, hidden behind the glass, fell on Ziri. For a long moment, they simply stared at each other. Ziri had never seen such a being, and Alex had never seen such a small, fragile alien. The forest was silent. Even the glowing birds had stopped their cries. Ziri's whole body shook, but he did not move. He thought, "If this is my end, then let it come. At least I will not die alone in the dark." But then the human did something no one expected. Alex bent down on one knee, lowering himself closer to Ziri's level. He lifted his hand, not with a weapon, but with something small and simple. A piece of food. Ziri's eyes widened. In all his life, no one had ever offered him kindness. No one had ever looked at him with interest, not pity. For the first time, Ziri felt something spark in his heart. Hope. The other aliens stayed hidden, whispering about curses and fear. But in that clearing, under the smoke and glowing trees, a tiny alien and a human shared the first silent moment of trust. Ziri did not know what was coming. He did not know that his life, once full of rejection, was about to change forever. But one thing was clear. The lonely alien was not truly alone anymore. The clearing was filled with smoke. The silver machine still hissed, sparks dancing along its broken wings. The air was hot, smelling of fire and strange metals. Ziri stood frozen, staring at the tall figure that had stepped out. The human, Captain Alex, moved slowly, his boots pressing against the glowing soil of the alien world. His suit shone under the strange light of the forest. He looked around, scanning the dark trees and the thick mist. But then his gaze fell again on the tiny alien standing alone. Ziri's heart raced. No one had ever looked at him like this before. The human was not laughing, not mocking. He was studying, curious. Ziri wanted to run, yet his feet refused. Something about this strange being pulled him closer, even though fear clutched his chest. Behind the trees, the other aliens watched. Their whispers filled the forest. "Do not go near it," they hissed. "The star demon will burn you." But none of them dared step into the clearing. They let the tiny outcast stand there alone as if his life did not matter. The human bent his tall frame and reached into a small bag at his side. He pulled out a round piece of food, soft and glowing with warmth. Slowly, carefully, he held it out toward Ziri. The little alien's eyes widened. Never in his life had anyone offered him kindness. His own kind only gave him insults. But here was a creature from the stars lowering itself to his level, offering a gift. Ziri trembled. He took a small step forward. His people gasped from the shadows, certain he would be destroyed. But nothing happened. The human kept his hand steady, waiting. Finally, with shaky fingers, Ziri touched the food. Warmth spread through his hand. He took it, holding it close, but his eyes never left the human's face. The glass mask of the human reflected the firelight. For a moment, Ziri thought he saw a pair of gentle eyes behind it, eyes that did not mock, eyes that did not hate. Ziri lifted the food to his mouth and tasted it. The flavor was strange but not bad. His stomach, empty from many lonely days, welcomed it. For the first time in forever, Ziri felt seen. The human spoke, his voice muffled by the helmet. Ziri did not understand the words, but the tone was calm, almost soft. The sound made Ziri's heart beat faster. Then Alex pointed at himself. "Alex," he said. He tapped his chest. Ziri blinked. The human repeated, "Alex." Slowly, Ziri lifted a thin finger to his own chest. His small voice whispered, "Ziri." The human tilted his head. Then he nodded. And for the first time, Ziri realized they understood each other. Not with words, but with intention. From the shadows, the other aliens grew restless. "This is wrong," one muttered. "He is cursed," another hissed. But none dared come closer. They were afraid of the human. They were afraid of the unknown. Ziri felt a strange courage rise inside him. All his life he had been rejected, cast aside, told he was worthless. Yet this tall being from the stars did not see weakness. He saw something else, something Ziri could not name. The human stood again, looking at the broken ship. Sparks shot into the air and the forest floor shook. The machine was badly damaged. Alex pressed his arm and lights blinked on his suit. He looked worried. Ziri tilted his head, curious. He sensed that the human needed help. The other aliens began to back away. "The star demon will bring death," they cried. "Leave it." But Ziri's feet carried him closer instead. The human noticed. He pointed at the ship, then made a gesture as if asking for help. Ziri's heart pounded. Could he, tiny, useless Ziri, help a creature from the stars? He nodded slowly. The human gave a smile. It was small, hidden behind the glass, but Ziri felt it. And in that moment, something changed. The lonely alien and the stranded human were no longer strangers. They were something new, something dangerous to the fear of the others. But the forest began to tremble again. A deep rumble shook the ground. From far away came a sound, low, angry like thunder, but alive. The human looked around sharply, his hand moving to the strange device on his belt. Ziri froze, fear gripping him. Whatever was coming was not just storm or fire. Something else had woken. Something that did not like intruders. And Ziri, for the first time, stood not as a rejected outcast, but as the only one by the human's side. The forest was silent after the rumble, but Ziri's heart was not. It pounded in his chest like a drum. The tall human stood near the broken silver ship, scanning the dark mist with sharp eyes. The other aliens had already disappeared into the shadows, too afraid to stay. But Ziri remained. His tiny legs trembled, yet he did not move away. Something in him whispered, "Stay. Do not leave him." The human, Captain Alex, slowly lowered his hand from the strange weapon on his belt. He looked down at Ziri again. The helmet glass reflected the glowing trees, but behind it Ziri could almost feel the human's eyes watching him. Not with fear, not with anger, but with curiosity. Alex bent down once more. He pointed at Ziri, then at his own chest. "Friend," he said clearly. The sound of the word carried warmth, though Ziri did not understand its meaning.
Still, he felt the intention. Ziri tilted his head, confused.
Yet his heart stirred. He pointed at himself and whispered, "Ziri." The human repeated softly, "Ziri." The way he spoke, it was gentle, almost careful, as if the small name carried great weight. Then Alex tapped his chest again. "Alex." Ziri's lips curled into the smallest of smiles. Two names, two beings, two lives touching for the first time. Suddenly, sparks burst from the side of the ship, throwing light across the clearing. Ziri flinched, but Alex placed a hand on his shoulder, steady, calm. The touch was light yet powerful. Never before had anyone touched Ziri without disgust. That single gesture made Ziri feel stronger than ever before. From the forest edge came faint whispers. The other aliens were watching. "Fool," they muttered. "He touches the star demon. He will be cursed." But Ziri no longer listened. For the first time in his life, he was not alone. Alex stood, walking to the broken ship. He pressed buttons on his wrist. Strange blue lights danced across his arm. He frowned. His ship was badly damaged. He could not leave this world without help. Ziri stepped closer, curiosity in his wide eyes. He looked at the blinking lights, the cracked panels, the torn metal. The human noticed him and pointed at the ship again, then back at Ziri. It was as if Alex was asking, "Do you know? Can you help?" Ziri hesitated. What could a weak, tiny alien do? But deep inside, he carried something the others did not know. A secret. Since childhood, Ziri had been able to feel energy. The ground, the trees, the sky. He could sense their hidden pulse. But whenever he spoke of it, the others mocked him. Child's lies, they said. Tricks of a useless mind. Now, standing before the silver ship and the tall human, Ziri closed his eyes. He felt it, the broken rhythm of the machine, the spark of its heart crying out for balance. Slowly, he touched the cracked metal. His small hand glowed faintly. The human froze, eyes widening behind the glass. He saw the tiny alien's hand shine with light, soft but real. The broken sparks around the ship quieted for a moment, as if the machine itself listened. Ziri opened his eyes. His voice shook as he whispered, "I feel it." The human did not understand the words, but he understood the action. He stepped closer, nodding. He pointed at Ziri, then at the ship, then gave a thumbs up. Approval. Trust. Ziri's chest filled with a warmth he had never known. Someone believed him. Someone saw value in him. From the forest, angry voices rose. The other aliens shouted, "He lies! Do not trust him." But Alex ignored them. He kept his gaze on Ziri, steady and sure. The connection was made. Tiny and fragile, yet unbreakable. Suddenly, the ground shook again. A deeper roar echoed from the horizon like a giant beast awakening. The trees swayed violently, glowing leaves raining down. The danger was coming closer. Alex's hand went to his weapon, but he looked down at Ziri. He did not push him away. Instead, he gave a single nod, a signal, a silent promise, "We face this together." Ziri's fear turned into fire. For the first time, he was not running, not hiding. He stood beside someone who believed in him. The human had come from the stars, broken and stranded. The alien had lived in the shadows, unwanted and weak. But in that smoky clearing under the trembling sky, they had found each other. And soon the entire world would learn what a tiny alien and a stranded human could become. The night air grew heavier. The glowing trees bent under the wind, and the sky rumbled again. Something powerful was moving closer, but Ziri no longer felt completely afraid. The tall human stood beside him, and that single fact gave him courage he had never known. Alex studied the small alien carefully. He had seen Ziri's hand glow, seen the sparks of the broken ship calm under his touch. This was not luck. This was something real, something important. Ziri's kind had never believed in him, but Alex believed, and that belief gave Ziri strength. The human pointed at the ship again, then at Ziri's glowing hand. He nodded as if saying, "You can help. You have something no one else does." Ziri swallowed hard. His hands trembled. He wanted to believe in himself, but the voices of his people echoed in his mind. Useless, weak, nothing. Yet Alex's steady eyes told a different story. Ziri pressed his palm against the broken metal once more. He closed his eyes, letting a strange gift rise. The glow spread brighter this time, filling the cracks with soft light. He could feel the ship's heart like a wounded animal. Its energy pulsed weakly, begging to be healed. The human watched with awe. The ship, though still damaged, responded. The sparks lessened. The lights flickered back to life for a moment. Ziri gasped, pulling his hand away. His body shook. The effort drained him, but he was smiling. For the first time in his life, he felt useful. Alex crouched beside him and gave a firm nod of respect. He touched his chest again. Strong, he said, pointing at Ziri. Ziri blinked, confused. Strong? The word was strange on his tongue. No one had ever called him that before. No one had ever dared. The moment was broken by a loud crash in the distance. The trees snapped like dry bones and the ground quivered. The unseen creature was drawing near. From the shadows, the other aliens appeared again. They pointed at Ziri with anger. "You shame us," they cried. "You help the sky demon. You bring death." But Alex stood tall, his hand reaching for his weapon. He did not step back, and Ziri, though tiny, stepped forward. His people looked at him with disgust. "You are nothing, Ziri," one shouted. "Stay out of our sight." For the first time, Ziri did not lower his head. He lifted it high. His voice shook, but it carried through the clearing. "I am not nothing." The aliens laughed, their voices cruel. But Alex did not laugh. He placed a steady hand on Ziri's shoulder, a silent shield against their hatred. The forest roared again. A storm of dark energy flashed across the sky. Bolts of lightning struck the ground, burning holes into the soil. The great storm was arriving. Ziri felt its energy before anyone else. His gift showed him waves of force, wild and deadly, moving like rivers in the air. The others screamed and ran, but Alex looked to Ziri. The human pointed at the sky, then at the ship. He needed a path through the storm. He needed a guide. Ziri's eyes widened. Could he really lead a star traveler? Could he save him from the storm? Fear gripped him. He had never led anyone. He had never been trusted. But Alex's gaze was strong, steady, certain. It was not the look of someone mocking him. It was the look of someone relying on him. Ziri took a deep breath. His chest rose with courage. He pointed at the storm and then at himself. His voice rang out small but clear. "I can." Alex gave the faintest smile. Then he spoke softly. "Together." The word echoed in Ziri's heart. Together. Not alone. Not useless. Together. The wind howled, lightning cracked, and the great storm broke open above them. But in that chaos, something greater was born. A bond. A promise. The tiny alien, rejected by all, had revealed his secret talent. And now, with a human at his side, he would step into a storm that could destroy them both. But Ziri was ready. For the first time, he truly believed. The storm was gone. The black sky had cleared, revealing a sea of shining stars. The forest below was silent, as if the whole world was holding its breath. The massive beast of lightning had vanished, leaving only broken clouds drifting apart. But inside the human ship, silence was heavy. Alex sat at the controls, his hands trembling. His chest rose and fell, each breath heavy with sorrow. He had seen bravery before, but nothing like this. A creature so small, mocked and forgotten by his own people, had faced the storm beast alone, and in doing so, he had saved them both. Ziri's light was gone, or so Alex thought. As the ship drifted through the quiet night sky, a flicker of brightness appeared outside the window. At first it looked like a star, but then it moved, slowly, gently, like a firefly dancing in the air. Alex leaned forward, his eyes widening. The light came closer. It was small, glowing softly, carrying a warmth that reached his heart. It was Ziri. Not in body, but in spirit. A spark of energy, pure and alive, hovering beside the ship. Alex pressed a hand against the glass, his throat tight. "You're still here," he whispered. He knew Ziri could not answer in words, but the glow pulsed brighter, as if saying yes. From below, the other aliens began to creep out of hiding. They had seen the sky explode. They had seen the storm vanish. And they had seen the human ship emerge alive. But most of all, they had seen Ziri. The tiny one they had mocked, the outcast they had rejected, had done what none of them could. He had faced the great beast and he had won. Whispers spread through the crowd. Ziri, the weak one, no, the brave one. For the first time, their voices carried not cruelty but awe. The ship descended slowly, landing back in the clearing. The other aliens gathered, their eyes fixed on Alex. Fear lingered in them, but also respect. The human stepped out, his tall figure glowing under the starlight. He looked at them, then lifted his hand and pointed to the small light drifting beside him. "Ziri," Alex said firmly. His voice was strange to their ears, but the name was clear. The glowing spark pulsed, shining brighter. The aliens gasped, some falling to their knees. They realized the truth. The one they had rejected was greater than all of them. Alex's eyes burned with quiet pride. He spoke again, softer this time, as if speaking only to the spark of light. "Tiny, no, never tiny. You are more." The glow brightened, filling the clearing with warmth. For a moment, every alien felt it. Hope, courage, and belonging. Ziri's name spread through the crowd like fire. No longer an insult, but an honor. The rejected alien had become their protector, their guide, their legend. Alex looked up at the stars. His ship was damaged, but with Ziri's help it could fly again. Yet a thought grew in his heart. He had come to this world by accident, but maybe fate had led him here. Maybe he had not found Ziri, maybe Ziri had found him. The human placed a hand over his chest where his heart beat strong. "Together," he whispered. The same word he had spoken before the battle. And even now, with only light beside him, he felt it was still true. The spark hovered near him, glowing softly. Though Ziri's body was gone, his presence was unshaken. He had not left. He would never leave. The other aliens bowed their heads, shame heavy in their hearts. They had cast Ziri aside, blind to his worth. Now they could only honor the truth. A tiny alien, once rejected in every way, had become more than they could ever imagine. The forest breathed again, the stars shining brighter than before, and in the clearing stood a human and a spark of light, two beings who had faced the storm together and won. The legacy was clear. Ziri would never be forgotten. The storm had fully awakened. Dark clouds twisted like giant beasts above the forest. Bolts of lightning ripped the sky apart, each strike shaking the ground. The wind howled like 1,000 angry voices, pulling at the trees until they snapped in half. The other aliens scattered in fear, running for caves and deep tunnels. But Ziri stayed in the clearing, standing beside Alex. His small body shook, but his eyes were fixed on the storm. He could feel it, waves of wild energy crashing against the land, hungry and violent. Alex looked down at him. Through the glass of the helmet, Ziri saw no fear. The human's eyes were calm, steady, full of trust. He touched Ziri's shoulder once and pointed to the sky, then at his ship. He was asking Ziri to guide him. Ziri's chest tightened. Him guide a traveler of the stars, lead a human through death itself? The old words of his people echoed in his mind. "You are nothing. You will never matter." But Alex's gaze cut through the doubt. It said, "I believe in you." Ziri took a shaky breath. He closed his eyes, letting his hidden gift rise. The storm's energy filled his senses, rivers of power, swirling currents of light and shadow. To anyone else, it was chaos. But to Ziri, it was a map. His eyes snapped open. He pointed toward a narrow path in the storm, invisible to all but him. "There!" he cried. Alex did not hesitate. He lifted Ziri into the ship's cabin, then climbed in himself. The engines roared weakly, coughing sparks. The machine was wounded but alive. The ship rose, fighting against the furious wind. Ziri clutched the seat, his small hands shaking. His voice rang out, "Left! Higher! Now straight!" Alex followed each command without question. Slowly, carefully, they cut through the storm's madness. But the storm had a guardian. From the heart of the darkness, a massive shape emerged. It was not a beast of flesh, but of pure energy. Lightning woven into claws, thunder shaped into wings. Its roar was the sound of worlds breaking. Ziri froze, terror gripping him. The monster's eyes burned like fire, locked on their fragile ship. Alex gritted his teeth, gripping the controls. The creature struck, claws of lightning slashing through the air. The ship jolted, alarms screaming. Ziri cried out, "Down! Move down!" Alex dove just in time, the lightning ripping the sky where they had been. Sparks danced across the ship's wings, smoke filling the cabin. Ziri's whole body shook. "This is too big. I am too small. We will die." But then he felt Alex's hand on his shoulder again. Even in chaos, the human trusted him. He believed. Ziri clenched his fists. "No," he whispered. Then louder, "No. I can do this." He reached out with his gift, feeling the storm's energy. He sensed the monster's movements before they happened, each strike a wave of power. "Right! Now up, spin!" he shouted. Alex moved the ship as Ziri guided. Lightning claws missed them by inches. Thunder wings slammed the air, but the ship slipped through. Together they danced between death and survival. The other aliens hiding far below watched in awe. The tiny outcast, the one they had mocked and rejected, was guiding a human through the storm. Their eyes widened. Could this truly be Ziri? The monster roared, furious. It opened its chest, gathering power for a final strike. The air turned white-hot, blinding and deadly. If it released that energy, nothing would survive. Ziri's heart raced. He saw the path. He felt the storm's heartbeat. There was only one way, but it was dangerous, too dangerous. He looked at Alex. The human's eyes met his. Silent, steady, unshaken, they both understood. Ziri pointed straight at the monster's chest. His voice broke, but it carried strength. Through it. Now, Alex pushed the ship forward. The engines screamed, metal straining, but they surged ahead. The storm monster released its strike. Blinding light exploded, flooding the sky, but Ziri's glow flared brighter. He felt the energy, bent it, twisted it, guiding the ship through the smallest opening in the blast. For a breathless moment, everything was white, then silence. The ship burst out on the other side of the storm. The monster's roar echoed behind them, fading as the skies cleared. The stars shone again, pure and endless. Ziri collapsed into his seat, gasping for air. He had never felt so drained, so close to death. Yet in his chest something burned stronger than fear. Pride. Alex turned to him. Slowly, he lifted his hand and gave a thumbs up. The meaning was simple. Victory, respect. Ziri's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in his life, he was not useless. He was a guide, a protector, a hero. But deep inside, he knew the storm had only been the beginning. Greater trials still waited, and soon Ziri would face the greatest test of all, one that would decide not only his fate, but the fate of worlds. The storm had quieted, but the danger was not gone. The sky was black and broken, filled with burning clouds. The ship limped forward, its engines smoking, its metal torn. Ziri sat trembling, his chest rising and falling fast. He had guided them through, but the fight had left him weak. Alex kept his hands firm on the controls, eyes locked ahead. He knew what Ziri did not. Storms like this always had a heart. And at the center of that heart, something darker waited. The calm was a lie. Ziri felt it before he saw it. A deep vibration rolled through the air, not of thunder, but of something alive. His gift told him, an energy greater than the monster they had faced. A presence older, stronger, hungrier. The clouds split open. From the void came a massive shape, bigger than mountains. Its body was pure lightning, its wings stretched across the sky. Its eyes blazed like suns, and its roar shattered the air. The true storm beast had awakened. Ziri froze, terror holding him still. His people had told stories of this creature, the devourer of skies, but no one had ever faced it and lived. Alex's jaw tightened. He reached for his weapon, a strange cannon built into the ship. He aimed and fired. Bolts of light streaked into the beast's chest, but the creature only laughed in thunder. Its claws swung forward, slashing the sky. The ship spun violently, alarms screaming. Ziri slammed against the wall, crying out. Sparks filled the cabin. The human fought to steady the craft, but the beast struck again. Each blow shook the ship closer to breaking. They could not survive another hit. Ziri clutched his chest. Fear told him to hide, to let the storm swallow him. But then he looked at Alex. The human's face, covered in sweat and firelight, still held no fear. Only determination. And trust. Trust in him. Ziri's small body shook, but his heart blazed. He whispered, "I can feel it. I know its rhythm." His eyes glowed, brighter than before. Alex turned to him. For a moment, man and alien locked eyes. No words were needed. They both understood. Ziri staggered forward, pressing his glowing hand to the control panel. His gift poured into the ship. The metal hummed, the engine surged with new life. He guided the energy, bending it, shaping it, feeding the human's weapon with his own power. The cannon roared again, stronger this time. The blast cut through the beast's wing. The creature howled in rage. But the victory was small. The storm beast gathered its strength. Its chest burned with light, preparing to release a wave of destruction that would erase everything. Ziri gasped. He could feel it. The attack was unstoppable. If unleashed, both he and Alex would be nothing but ash. There was only one way. His eyes widened with fear and sorrow. He looked at Alex. The human was focused on the beast, unaware of Ziri's decision. Ziri whispered, "Together, but only one must burn." He pulled his hand free of the panel and pressed it to his own chest. His glow expanded brighter and brighter, until his tiny body shone like a star. He was drawing the storm into himself. The energy ripped through him, burning, crushing, but he held on. His gift had always been a curse, something that made him strange. But now it was the only thing that could save them. Alex realized too late. "No," he shouted, reaching out. But Ziri only smiled, tears glowing in his eyes. "For the first time," Ziri whispered, "I matter." He leapt from the ship, his small body blazing like a comet. He flew straight into the storm beast's chest. The monster roared, releasing its full power. The sky exploded with light. For a moment the world was fire. Thunder screamed. Lightning tore the heavens apart, and then silence. The storm beast was gone. Its body dissolved into sparks, its roar fading into nothing. The skies cleared, stars shining bright again. Alex sat frozen in the cockpit, staring at the empty sky. His heart ached. Ziri was gone. The tiny alien who had been rejected by all had given everything to save him. But then, in the distance, a faint light flickered. Small, soft, but alive. A glowing spark drifted alongside the ship, following like a ghost, like a promise. Alex's lips trembled into the smallest smile. He whispered, "Tiny?" "No, never tiny.